Thank you, Marla Allentoff, Dorothy Tonchin, and Fran Kane. It's now my pleasure to introduce to you Carol Burke, board member of International Northeast Region and past president of Shart Sedek Sisterhood in Montreal, Canada, who will offer the memorial.
We thank you, O God, for the resurrection of memory. Eternal God, from whom we came and to whom we return, be with us as we consecrate this time to the memory of our departed. We all remember with love those who have been taken from our sisterhoods and families since International Northeast Region's last conference. We are sustained and comforted by the memory of the vitality, goodness, and wisdom which they brought to our sisterhoods. And this will be an everlasting beacon for us to follow as we meet the challenges of the future. To the families and friends who mourn, we wish long life and offer consolation and healing. Merciful God, we ask that you shelter them in your divine presence. May their souls rest in peace. May they be bound up in the bond of eternal life, and may their names be for a blessing. And let us say, Amen.
Thank you, Carol. That was very touching, difficult, but touching. Hard to follow, but at this time, I would like to introduce Debbie Kaner Goldich. Debbie was born in Boston, Massachusetts, and moved to the Philadelphia suburbs shortly after college. She has an undergraduate, graduate, and postgraduate degrees in pediatric nursing and practiced for 35 years before retiring. Debbie has been active in Jewish communal service since high school when she was USY chapter president and Narusi region secretary. She became active in Women's League for Conservative Judaism over 40 years ago and has served as Sisterhood President, Region President, International Vice President, International Torah Fund Chair, consultant, among many other positions, and now Women's League president. Debbie shares her time between Pennsylvania and Arizona. She and her husband, Bob, have 3 sons, 2 daughters, and 2 grandchildren. Debbie, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Joan. Just a correction, 2 daughters by love.
Oh, okay.
So I was busy, but not that busy. So shalom, friends. Good morning. Good morning to you. As president of Women's League for Conservative Judaism, I welcome you to your region conference. It is a pleasure for me to greet you today, although I wish we were together, biyachad, in person. This has been a unique and challenging year. We started our year with our virtual international convention in July. And since then, we have offered continuous programming with opportunities for learning and engagement. Our weekly newsletter encourages our members to join programs in sisterhoods and regions all over North America. In spite of the pandemic, the newsletter tells everyone that in spite of the pandemic, the newsletter tells everyone that Women's League is alive and well. And if you are not subscribed to it, please let Joan or me know and we will connect you. When the chat opens up, please put your email and your name in the chat and we will make sure that you are subscribed. During these past 12 months, I have had the opportunity to greet many of you through the magic of Zoom. Together, we have celebrated Sisterhood Paid Up membership events, Torah Fund events, Women's League Shabbat services, and now region conferences. Those visits are an important part of my role as president. Your comments and suggestions to me allow our organization to move forward with fresh ideas. So please, please continue to invite me to your events so you can reach out personally. Soon, I hope to be on the road traveling and would love to be together with you in person. And so today, as you are together with your region sisters at your conference, please take advantage of all that your sisterhood, region, and the international organization has to offer you as a conservative Jewish woman. Please join me in thanking Joan and your outgoing region officers and board for their hard work and support of Women's League over the last 3 years. And please welcome Marilyn and your incoming executive committee and board as they embark on an exciting road ahead. Thank you and lahitraot. I hope to see you all soon.
Thank you so much, Debbie. I so appreciate you being here. And now it is my honor to present past region president and nominating committee chair, Eleanor Diamond, to present our slate of officers.
Thank you, Joan. According to our bylaws, nominations may be made by petition. Having received no such nominations, it is truly a pleasure for me as chair of the nominating committee to present these outstanding, dedicated, and committed women as a slate of officers for the International Northeast Region of Women's League for Conservative Judaism for the 2021-2024 term. President, Marilyn Cohn from Beth Tikva Synagogue, Toronto, Ontario. Sisterhood Support Vice President, Linda Steinhorn, Temple Beth Tzedek, Buffalo, New York. Torah Fund Vice President, Linda Boxer, Temple Beth Tzedek, Buffalo, New York. Program and Educational Vice President, Adele Weinstein, Beth Tikva Synagogue, Toronto, Ontario. Membership Vice President, Corinne Hammerschlag, Beth Tikva Synagogue, Toronto, Ontario. Treasurer Canadian, Ellen Haspel, Beth David Synagogue, Toronto, Ontario. Treasurer for the US, Toby Mazer, Temple Beth Joseph, Herkimer, New York. Administrative Secretary, Esther Rekhusen, Temple Beth El, Ithaca, New York. Co-Communication Secretary and Webmaster, Lois Silverman, Congregation Beth Shalom Chevras, DeWitt, New York. Joan Lowenstein, Temple Adath Yeshurun, Syracuse, New York. And finally, parliamentarian Iris also known as Rusty Zackheim, Temple Beth Tzedek, Buffalo, New York.
There being no additional nominations, I request Secretary Marla Allentoff cast a unanimous ballot to elect the slate as presented.
Oh, that's very sweet. I do.
Marla, you cast a vote?
Yes,
Okay, so just say I cast a vote.
I cast a vote.
Thank you.
Once again, I thank the nominating committee members for their excellent work developing this wonderful slate of women. And my congratulations to these outstanding, dedicated, and committed women who are now elected for the 2021-2024 term of the International Northeast Region of Women's League for Conservative Judaism. Finally, I would also like to thank the previous team of officers led by our president, or maybe past president as we speak, I'm not sure, Joan Lowenstein, for their extraordinary dedication and achievements they brought to our region. Kol hakavod. Well done.
Thank you so much, Eleanor.
Very nice, very nice, very, very nice. We will now hear from our conference consultant, Barbara Esring of Norfolk, Virginia. She has had much Women's League experience. Currently, she is the international chairwoman of the Torah Fund, so she has much to say. She is a native of Chicago. She has been a sisterhood member in New Jersey, Florida, and North Carolina before moving to Virginia. She is the product of the conservative movement for Jewish education and has worked for over 20 years as a speech language pathologist and has devoted herself to Jewish education. Now, for her full biography, you can check her full biography. Still too early in the morning. Her full biography and her list of accomplishments are all listed on our registration program. So it's right there for you to read yourself. Barbara and her husband, Rabbi Murray Esring, are the parents of 4 children and grandparents of 2. And we wish her mazel tov on the engagement of her son, Cantor Gil, to soon to be Cantor Erica. And I'm not even going to pronounce her last name. We wish them much mazel tov and a wonderful life together. But I really, without further ado, I would like to introduce our consultant with our keynote address, Barbara Esring.
Thank you so much, Linda. Good morning, everyone. I've had such a wonderful time working with your amazing conference committee. From our first meeting, I have felt welcomed and at home. Thank you for allowing me to be a member of International Northeast Region today. Mazal Tov to our newly elected International Northeast Region Executive Committee. Ruth Gruber said, "Have dreams, have visions, and let no obstacle stop you." When the world shut down on March 12th, 2020, Women's League opened its Zoom doors to the Jewish community. We allowed no obstacles to stop us. Psalms and Kaddish started on Sunday, March 15th, as Rabbi Ellen Wollensfields told us, and continue today as Makom B'Yachad. More than 70 women, people from the United States, Canada, Israel, and other countries around the world joined together Monday through Friday to sing Mishaberach and pray for those who are ill, read the daily psalm, recite mourners Kaddish, and learn Jewish text together. Women's League success is you, our members, who have dreams, who have visions, who lead your communities, teach and guide others, make sure that those in need are clothed and fed and kept safe. You have not allowed a pandemic to stop all of us from succeeding. Women's League's programs expanded over this year with our virtual international conventions, seminars for sisterhoods to discuss membership, per capita, small sisterhood needs. The number of individual members of Women's League grew, and they have had opportunities to interact with each other. We joined with our sisters in Israel from Assorti Days of Study and learned with each other at Region Study Days. We share cooking and baking techniques. Women at all levels learn Hebrew every week, and our Benot Mitzvah class gives women the opportunity to become a bat mitzvah or renew that right. And now, everyone in the world knows about the International Northeast Region secret, Lois Silverman. People from around the world gathered to learn from Lois about Jews in film and Jews in comedy. Familiar programs continue. Women's League Reads, our online book club featuring discussions with authors, personal conversations, and health and wellness, featuring in-depth discussions with experts on topics including organ donation, LGBTQ concerns, and mikvah. All of these programs are open to you, our members of Women's League. So please be sure that all your paid up members are in our database. Make sure that we have everyone's email address so that every member will receive our newsletters and e-blasts that give you all the dates and times and Zoom links to these wonderful programs. Please send me an email or send an email to Joan with your name and email address if you have not received the Women's League Week every week. We'll make sure that you're added to the list. If you've not checked out the Women's League website lately, please go to WLCJ.org. It is more user-friendly than ever before. You'll find a vast array of resources. Also, you'll find the videos of our programs this year. Much information is available to the public, and much information is available only to you in the members only section. Click on, log in, and find a treasure trove of ideas. Check out the Women's League for Conservative Judaism resolutions. These can be used as the basis of sisterhood programs or as ways to promote social action projects. In response to food insecurity caused in part by the pandemic, Women's League's Social Action Project for 2020 through 2023 is Stock the Shelves. Sisterhoods are encouraged to collect food or make donations to your local food banks. Many synagogues and sisterhoods already are involved in food programs, and we encourage you to continue what you're doing. You'll find suggestions for food items to collect listed in the Women's League Week. Join Women's League on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The International Northeast Region website will provide you with local Women's League information. Women's League is continually growing and changing. Consulting services is available to link your sisterhood with a consultant or a mentor to help you face challenges or learn new things. Seminars are available on how to use Zoom, leadership development, sisterhood synagogue relations. A consultant will personalize a workshop just for you, and a mentor will work side by side with you. Consulting services is collaborating with the membership and per capita teams to provide better service to each of our affiliates. As Jews, our calendar is so important. We keep track of our holidays and the time to light Shabbat and holiday candles. We mark down all our meetings and appointments and Zoom programs. Women's League continues to publish our yearly calendar diary. And Mark, will you highlight Marilyn Cohen, please? It is my honor to present the 2021 to 2022 calendar diary to Marilyn Cohen, our newly elected region president. Inside the calendar, Marilyn, is a message to you from Debbie Goldich. It reads, "May our flame continue to light up the conservative movement, and may it light your way. Mazal Tov." And now, biyachad, together, let's enjoy this wonderful day of learning and sharing.
Thank you so much, Barbara. That was beautiful. And we so much appreciate you being our consultant. It has been a wonderful experience, and I have truly enjoyed getting to know you better through this experience. And I'm going to back up just a bit because I was busy doing 100 things at once. And at the end of elections, I didn't get a chance to say Mazel Tov to Marilyn and our newly elected executive committee. So let me throw that in right there. And at this point, I am so pleased to introduce Terry Davis and Marion Juster in a segment we are calling Greetings from Israel. Many of you know Terry as we have been twinned with Kehilat Netzach Israel for many years. And you've had an opportunity to either visit her in Israel or when she has come here. But not all of you know Marion, as we are newly twinned with Kehilat HaKerem and Carmiel. What we're going to do, and wow, we are incredibly on time.
I know, exactly.
But what we are going to do is we are going to spend the first 15 minutes of our segment talking to Terry, and the second 15 minutes talking to Marion, and we're going to open up both segments at the end for questions for 5 minutes. So Terry, I'm going to start with you. And if you would just briefly start with, I know you made Aliyah. Mark, we can leave Marion on the screen as well while we talk, while we chat. If you would just start with a little bit about when you made Aliyah and that transition for you,
Okay.
and where you're from.
Okay, hi. I see so many familiar faces, and congratulations, Marilyn. We go back way, a lot more years from even the Twin West Synagogue. And I made Aliyah in 1980, and I moved to Ashkelon in 1981. I have 3 children, 8 grandchildren. I'm actually now in Miami and not in Israel because I'm finally getting the opportunity to see my granddaughter who's 6 months, who I couldn't come to because of the pandemic. And I left behind the new one who I wanted to see her born, who's a month old, before I got here. I love living on Ashkelon. Right now, we're like, again, in a hot spot because there's a lot of rockets being shot over to the south the last 2 nights. And we moved to Ashkelon, 1, because there was a job, and 2, there was a community Masorti synagogue, a conservative synagogue.
And you are Ashkelon, for those who don't know, you are about 40 miles from Tel Aviv, in the southern part of Israel, very close to the border with
Gaza.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Gaza.
With Gaza, right. Okay. And you are the only non-Orthodox synagogue among how many? I know the answer to this.
Among over 220 Orthodox synagogues.
In Ashkelon, which
Yeah.
is crazy.
Yeah.
And I know the answers to all these questions, but I'm gonna, so, and your synagogue has how many members?
We have 100 family members now,
Okay.
paid members.
And with those family members, you operate how many Tali kindergartens?
5 Tali kindergartens and 1 preschool with 25 children from the ages of 3 months to 3 years.
Wow. And how many children are in each of those kindergartens?
There's 35 in the morning in each of the kindergartens, and we run the afternoon daycare program, which 131 children stay on for lunch and to help the women go to work. So they have activities which we provide. When there isn't a pandemic, we do extra activities in there.
That's That's
education.
incredible. That's incredible. And I lost my train of thought. What does TALI stand for? What is that?
Oh, I don't know the acronym, but
Oh, okay.
okay,
Sorry, put you on the spot there.
that's right.
And you also have not only a mainstream B'nai Mitzvah program, but also a special needs B'nai Mitzvah
Yeah, we
program.
do two. We do one from Ashkelon, has usually six students. And we also do one for Ashdod because the Masorti synagogue isn't working there right now.
Okay. And your rabbi, Rabbi Gustavo, you pronounce his last name for me.
Zaretsky,
Okay. He was born in
Argentina.
and ordained at our very own Rabbinico Latino Americano in Buenos Aires, supported by our very own Women's League Torah Fund. We're very proud to say.
That's good.
And he's been with you how long?
He's been with us 16 years.
Okay. And you also have a relationship with Montreal, with it's IVOW. That is
Israel Victims of War.
right. And what does that do?
We send over 100 children, bar mitzvah age, to 4 camps in Montreal, the YCC, the CBB, Masada, and Wingate.
And
And
these are
sorry,
children.
these are children who parents were either killed in a war or hurt in one of the attacks. And we were lucky to be able to, I think this is our 6th year. Because luckily, the president was Masorti in Shari Zion, and he decided because we were hit by rockets that they should include us, and they also included Omer. So we get to send 4 students. At the beginning stage, it was 5, but now it's 4 students every year, 12 to 13 to the camps.
That's fabulous. So not only are you twinned with the region, but you have another relationship within our region with Montreal. And you have Noam Youth Group, right?
Yes.
That and that's what ages does that cover?
It starts from the 1st grade. It's officially the 3rd grade, but it starts in our synagogue from the 1st grade up until they go into the army.
That's fabulous. And what kind of activities do they do?
They do informal educational programs, and they do some tikkun olam programs, and they have trips and weekends away. And
So that's very
my
similar to our,
granddaughter's part of that program because she's in the bat mitzvah class now.
that's great. So that's very similar to our USY
Yeah.
groups and Kadima groups. And you're also doing various study groups. You're very active, extremely active. And you also, many of your women participate in our Masorti Days of Study. So that's
Yes,
correct,
with
right?
Dan, yeah.
Yes. And you've been twinned with our region for, I think it's about 12 years now. Is that correct?
A long time, yes. I remember going to conference and meeting a lot of people in person. It was in Detroit.
Yeah.
Esty and Toby and a lot of people, Linda, and yeah.
And Terry, how best can we put our twinning into practice?
Well, we talked about that. We have a Parsha Shavua, the weekly portion that we study on Thursdays, 10 o'clock your time, 5 o'clock our time, and everybody's welcome to join. It's in English. It's run by a rabbi who made Aliyah, who was Reformed, Don Levy, who's very good. And that can be a connection that we can have. And we give presents to soldiers and to babies. So if people want to help us by donating or just connecting or visiting when it opens, we like when people visit. And we want to stay connected. Maybe cooking classes, it sounded good, like maybe we can join that too.
Very good. Great. I'm going to open it up. Let's see. I'm going to open up the chat and also if anybody has any questions for Terry, we have a few minutes left with her. Does anybody have any questions? You can use the raise your hand feature. Also, if anybody visits Israel, we can also ask Terry to put her contact information in the chat. She can do that while I'm talking to Marion, maybe. And she has, and at the end of the segment, Mark is going to show a couple of slides that has Marion and Terry's contact information that you can take down. Also, you can always email me or Marilyn when she takes over for contact information for both Terry and Marion, depending where you're going in Israel. Also, if they or anybody from either of the Kahilas come here and are traveling to anywhere in our region, perhaps we can host them. Somebody did raise their hand.
Dorothy Tonchin.
Oh, Dorothy and
Shalom,
Ellen.
Terry. Shalom.
Ellen, we'll start with Dorothy.
Yes.
Do I hear? Go ahead, Dorothy.
Shalom, Terry. I had the privilege of, with my late husband, visiting the town of Ashkelon in 2008, where we met with Levi Shafron and Ron Nachman, who I think at the time was your mayor. And we had a wonderful visit there. I would like to know, unfortunately now most of our summer camps here in the Montreal area, due to this pandemic, are not opening. What will happen with these children who normally would come to Montreal and be hosted?
They won't have the experience because last year also they didn't go because of the pandemic. They're still holding out that maybe that they'll open, but I doubt it, but we'll.
I don't think so. We're in what's called the red zone, so I don't think so. Anyway, Bahatzlacha and
Thank you.
wonderful doing what you're doing, surrounded by so many Orthodox synagogues.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And if anyone comes also to Tel Aviv and can't make it to Ashkelon, I'm happy to take the train or drive up to Tel Aviv to see you as well.
As soon as the flights are open and we're okay, I'm there.
All right.
Fabulous.
Okay, be well.
Okay.
Thank
And
you.
Eleanor? Oh, unmute Eleanor.
Sorry about that. Okay. Okay, sorry. Terry, as a member of Shara Zion, I have witnessed many times some of the young people coming to our services and being hosted by families. And as much as it might seem as a mitzvah for Shara Zion, probably to welcome those young people from Israel, it is certainly a mitzvah for us as well. I mean, what we get to learn and experience about what's going on is, is almost beyond the experience. So I want to, it's a win-win situation. I hope we can continue to do it. I'm guessing is your contact person Jack Shakovitz? Is that the
Definitely, yes.
He's very keen on that, I know. And so I think it's thank you on both sides.
Thank you.
Thank you on both sides. So continue the good work.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay. Does anybody have any other questions for Terry?
I do.
Oh, okay.
I don't have a question, but hi, Terry.
Hi.
If you can't come in person, I'm hoping maybe you can do a virtual program of some kind with them. I don't know. But
I was going to talk about that at the end. We actually, I'll mention it now. We are actually planning a program for the fall. I'll give a little teaser with our region and both Kehilot. And we may have a very special guest presenter for that, who is at the very top of the Women's League totem pole. So I'll tease that. So we're trying to put that together.
I was talking also about the kids themselves.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm talking about a program. Okay.
The other thing is if a congregation or sisterhood or our congregation want to do any kind of fundraising whatsoever, if you want to do fundraising in Canada, the funds need to go to the Canadian Foundation for
Yes.
Masorti Judaism.
We've got that on
Oh.
a slide we're going to show. Yep.
Okay, good.
Got
Okay.
that covered.
Good.
Okay. Okay. All right. Marion.
Hi.
Hi, how are
Good
you?
to see you. I'm very well.
You.
Yeah.
Lovely to see you again.
Likewise.
Marion, and I think we're introducing Marion to all of you for the first time, as we are newly twinned with Kehilat HaKerem, which is located about 40 minutes north of Haifa in Carmiel.
Actually, northeast of Haifa.
Northeast of Haifa in Carmiel. Yes. Oh, where'd she go? Just a little glitch there, but we can keep talking. Something interesting, and I'll get back to the Kehila in a second, but something that I would like to know about, Carmiel is famous for hosting an international dance festival each year. What kind of dancing?
All kinds. It started out to be basically a folk dance festival from all over the country and from the rest of the world. But
wow.
It's gotten to be also, well, there's ethnic dancing, there's ballet, there's modern dance. And for 3 days, Carmiel doesn't sleep.
Oh, wow. That's fabulous. That's great. How long has that been going on?
Since 1988 or 89, something like that.
That's great. That's so, and it's when does that take place, if anybody's interested in dance?
Takes place, it depending upon when Tisha B'Av is.
Okay.
If Tisha B'Av is early in July, then it'll be in August. If Tisha B'Av is late in August, it'll be in July.
So if anybody is interested in dance, that's, the time to visit. So, and also, Marion, if you could tell us a little bit about your Aliyah, and because I know you are not originally from Israel, and where you're from, and how you made that decision to move, and where you're from, and when you got there a little bit, because I know you told me a little bit about your story and when you got to Carmiel and how it was when you got there. If you could tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. Okay. Well, I grew up in Manhattan, northern Manhattan, and got married, lived in Queens, and we made Aliyah from Long Island in 1978. And we were put in an Ulpan, a Hebrew learning situation for in Kiryat Yam, which is a suburb north of Haifa, on the beach, literally on the beach. And there was a lot of public relations from Carmiel. We liked the mountains. We liked the fact that there was no polluting industry. It was a very young town. It was what they call a development town. And the median age in the town was under 19. Mm-hmm. So we had 2 young children. They were 11 and 9 at the time. And they had a music center, a conservatory, and a culture hall that was just built, which was important to me because I'm a musician at heart. And we were just starting a conservative congregation, Masorti congregation. And that was the topper. Mm-hmm. So that's why we moved to Carmiel. As a development town, we didn't have telephones right away. There were no internal bus lines. The population was about 10,000. It's about 55,000 today. So, and it's changed a lot, as you can imagine. When you left the house and drove on the road to get to Akko or to Haifa, you were greeted by flocks of sheep and goats that would cross the road, and it was kind of fun because you had to go to somebody's house and knock on the door and say, are you home? And make a date to meet somewhere.
Right.
It was,
I think when we first talked, you told me that there were more people than telephones when you first moved there.
oh, yes.
Unlike
oh, yes.
now,
I saw it.
unlike
yes.
now when there's, everybody has.
And everyone has a cell phone, a
Yes.
smartphone.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now it's a little bit smaller than Ashkelon, but there's approximately, from the research I've done, 30 Orthodox synagogues. But like Ashkelon, you are the only non-Orthodox.
No, actually, there is a Reform
Okay.
congregation.
There is a Reform congregation. Okay.
Yeah. It's about 5 years old. No more than that.
And I think you described Kehilat HaKerem as small but active.
Yes.
And you are a lay-led congregation.
Yes.
With 2 member rabbis. Can you tell us a little bit about them?
Sure. One of them was one of our first rabbis of the congregation. And he's a lovely man, and he and his family have been active members ever since. His wife is now the president of the Kehillah. And Julie Landau, she's great. I think Terry might know her. And the other rabbi is Gil Nativ, who was actually on Shlichut. He was a rabbi in Poland for 3 years, like a chief rabbi of the conservative congregation there. And his wife had been the head of the B'nai Mitzvah program for children with special needs, which was an amazing program. It was very moving, the ceremonies when they became bar and bat mitzvah. And they're active members too, and which is wonderful. We love them.
Yes. And you yourself are the prayer coordinator, keeping track of those reading Torah and Haftarah.
And also being Shlichei Tzibor and Chazanim and so forth.
You're a busy lady.
Yeah.
And you have an active Beit Midrash with you said 3 to 4 courses per week.
There are at least 3 courses a week. 2 of them are in Hebrew, 1 is in English. We also have an advanced Hebrew program and someone that teaches basic Hebrew, and someone else who has started teaching French.
That's fabulous.
And so, yeah.
Many different languages going on.
Oh, yes. Yes,
and
indeed.
And you said your current building, you just expanded recently.
The expansion happened about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, maybe.
Oh, okay.
It's not that new. But what is new, relatively new, is the garden and patio outside in the back of the synagogue, which had been a real mess. And someone donated money in memory of her spouse to change the mess. And the patio and the garden were just in time for the pandemic, when we were allowed to have field prayers outside. It worked out just beautifully. And now there's a part of that garden which is set aside as a community garden, and we're growing vegetables. We've got kale and lettuce and carrots and beets and radishes and a horseradish.
That's wonderful. That's great. So that worked out well. So you were able to have socially distanced services outside this past year as necessary. Very good. So that helped. And you said when you expanded, you no longer had to move the chairs for Kiddush after service.
That's right.
Right. That helps. And you also have a B'nai Mitzvah program and a special needs B'nai Mitzvah program.
Well, we have a B'nai Mitzvah program. We have a wonderful B'nai Mitzvah teacher, and the kids love him. and he does special needs. He's wonderful even with them.
That's great.
Great.
That's fabulous. Okay. And also same thing. If anybody is visiting the area, again, I have a slide we're going to show with contact information for both Marion and Terry. Also, something that I'm going to mention is that in Israel, and what we'll do is we'll put this up bigger so everybody can actually see it when we're done. In Israel, the non-Orthodox Kehillas receive no government funding. Only Orthodox synagogues receive funds from the government. So anything that we can do to assist these Kehillas financially or otherwise is of great assistance to them. And as Marilyn mentioned, in Canada, we do have to route it differently. So what I did do here, and if anybody wants this information, feel free to email me and I will put my email in the chat. Let me just get this up here to everyone. And feel free to email me and I will send you the information directly. I can't walk and chew gum at the same time, so bear with me here a second. If you don't get this down, don't worry about it. I can send it to you directly. But there are separate websites that you do need to go to from the US and from Canada. And do note that if you do go to the websites from Canada, you do have to choose to make the donation to the Kehillah. And then you do also have to write the Kehillah's name in the message box. So be careful how you do that. In the States, you just have to click the link and it's going to take you directly to the Kehillah that you want to make the donation to. But like Terry said, there's other things that they do if you're knitting and you want to send things over, and you can get in touch directly with both of them. And like I say, there's another slide that we can show with both of their contact information. And Terry, as she said, does have a Parsha Hashavua group that meets every Thursday, 10 a.m. our time. I wish I could go. I have a meeting that meets every week on Thursdays at 10 a.m. I hope it's not forever and I'll be there someday, Terry. We do have a couple more minutes. If anybody has any questions for either Marion or Terry.
I'd like to add that
Yes.
we have a relation with a sister congregation in Pittsburgh, Beth Shalom.
I meant to mention that.
And we're working on a program which will start in a couple of weeks where we're going to get together and study together.
I meant to mention that. I forgot about that. Yes. And if you want to send me the information, I'll advertise that, Marion, as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
we participate, many of us participate with a Talmud class in Pittsburgh every Monday.
Oh, that's fabulous. That's great. So a lot of the Kehillas are twinned with a lot of other synagogues in the diaspora. Does anybody else have any other questions? Ladies, thank you so much. This has been wonderful. And it has been wonderful getting to know you both.
Thank
Oh,
you.
Esther has a question.
Hi. I know you mentioned that the Masorti congregations do not receive support from the Israeli government. So I'm curious about whether there are people who are lobbying with maybe different parliamentary members or Is there a lobbying movement, and has it made any progress?
There's a position in the Masorti movement. Someone holds that position and they lobby all the people all the time. And as well, we have a representative now, Yisra Hess, who was the executive director of the Masorti movement, who now sits on the WZO as the vice deputy, and he also lobbies them as well.
Don't you get monies from the WZO, from Jewish Agency?
We get not the kilos, but the Masorti movement gets from the WZO and Karen Kayemet as well as Mahon Schechter and Tali and Fuchsberg. They get money. We get money from the Masorti movement now. It's unfortunately only 30% because they keep cutting budgets from the Jewish agencies to pay towards our rabbis. But the rest has to be fundraised in all the synagogues.
It's very difficult. It's just like everywhere, things need to change. Okay.
Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you so much for being here. And we look forward
Thank
to
you,
a nice long relationship with you both.
It's been
And-
lovely meeting you and working with you, and Mazal Tov to Marilyn.
Also,
Yes. And Terry, Mazel Tov again on the new grandbabies.
thank you.
All right.
Maybe we can post all these numbers and email addresses and everything like that. Maybe you can send an email to everybody who did participate. I'm sure there'll be other information that we'll want to send out after the conference.
Yes, we can. We can put all of this information in our next newsletter, and we can also post it on our website as well.
And Marilyn, we hope that you'll continue to have someone represent Israel on your executive or on your committee, so we have someone to contact as well.
Okay, good idea.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, ladies, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right, and that brings us to our first break. And stretch your legs, walk around. We're going to leave it open for people who want to schmooze and chat, get a cup of coffee, and we will reconvene at 11:15. And I hope everybody has enjoyed what we've done so far, and we'll see you in a few minutes. Thank you all for being here.